what we're basically talking about today is two things: changing decimals to percents, and the second thing is changing percents to decimals. Okay, both of them are fairly simplistic. Like I said, it's not going to take you long to do this because it's basically, the two processes is basically moving the decimal two places to the left or right, depending which one you're doing. Okay, so all you have to do is move the decimal. You always move it two places. Okay, and you're going to move it two places left or right. For example, let's look at decimals to percents. Okay, if we look at decimals to the percents, okay, if I have 0.65 and I want to change that to a percent, okay, it's very simplistic. I have to move it two places, and I'm going to move it two places, 1, 2, two places to the right, and that's going to give me 65%. And that's it. Okay, it's always two places. It's always to the right to change the decimal to a percent. It doesn't matter if you have this, 0.625. We're still going to move it two places to the right. Once, twice to the right. And that gives me 62.5%. Okay? Doesn't matter if I have one decimal place. For example, 0.5. Still, once, twice to the right. I got to add a 0 right there. So that gives me 50%. It doesn't matter if it's a whole number, 2. Where would the decimal be in the whole number 2? No, where would the decimal? I haven't moved it yet. Where is the decimal located in the whole number 2? To the left? Uh-huh. Right, yeah. Be right here. That's where the decimal is. Now I have to take that decimal and move it one place, two places to the right. And now I have to add 2 zeros, and so that's going to give me 200%. Okay, so to change a decimal to a percent, you move the decimal exactly two places to the right. Okay, so it's not real difficult. So let's look then at changing a percent to a decimal. Okay, to change a percent to a decimal, we're going to move the decimal two places to the left. So, for example, 16%. Okay, first of all, we have to understand where the decimal is in the number 16%. Where's the decimal in 16%? It's obviously not on the screen, but where do we assume that the decimal is in every number that doesn't have a decimal? Jonah? Left side? Your left? So, right there? Or there? Or there? There's only three places it could be. If I put it here, is that still 16%? No, that's 0.16%. There is a difference. Okay? So it's the same spot it is. It's right there. Okay? So the decimal, when it doesn't have one, just like on the whole number we did a while ago. A while ago we had 2. Where did we say the decimal was in 2? Behind it. Okay? So the decimal's behind the percent, and so therefore I take this decimal and I move it once and I move it twice to the left. And so that gives me a number of, that gives me a number of 0.16. And that's your answer. So let's say I had 88%. Well, the decimal in 88% is right there. So I move it once, twice to the left, which gives me 0.88. Now, if you leave the percent sign on it, it will be wrong. Okay, when you're changing a percent to a decimal, you must move the decimal 2 places to the left and remove the percent sign. Okay? Now, let's look at a couple of more difficult ones. Let's say I had this. .5%. Doesn't change. Now my decimal's actually in the number. So I still have to take the decimal and move it once, twice to the left. And so that gives me 0.625. Okay, well, we already had that one up here, didn't we? Yeah, right here. We said that 0.625 was 62.5%, and sure enough, we just proved it again. Okay, going back the other way. Now, here's where people get confused. You won't have any like this. Let me make sure, looking at stuff here. Yeah, you won't have any like this today, but you eventually will. Some people get confused when they see this. .25%. Okay, and they'll go, well, I don't need to change that to a decimal. It's already a decimal. I'll just drop off the percent sign. No, can't do that. Okay, you have to move the decimal 2 places to the left. So, 0.25, I move it once, twice to the left. So now I must add in the zeros right there. So that gives me 0.0025. And that's your answer. I want you to do these two on your own. 1% and 225%. Okay, do those two on your own. Raise your hand when you have both answers. All right, Staley, what did you get for the 1%? Yes, 0.01. Okay? Because in 1%, the decimal will be right there. So you move it once, twice to the left. Add a 0. Okay, so now how about 225%? Who has that one? Joy. Yes, 2.25. Okay, because in 225%, the decimal would be right there to the right of the 5, and we need to move it once, twice to the left. Okay, and so 2.25 would be your answer. Yes, Maya?
So if there's not a decimal already there, you always put it to the right?
It's always after the last digit. Whether you're changing it to a percent or whether you're changing it to a decimal, if there is no decimal in the number, it's always to the farthest to the right, last digit. Okay? All right. Your homework. And we still got almost 25 minutes left in class. You'll probably get it finished. I know that's disheartening to some of you that love to go do math homework when you get home. 4.4, and we're going to do 1 through 22. Okay? So go ahead and get started on it so we can hopefully get it done, and I can help you with any questions that you have.